Hi, welcome to Lesson 7, Session 1. Today is our first session about the powers of 10. Today we'll be exploring the patterns in the number of zeros found in the products or quotients when multiplying, the products of found in products or quotients when multiplying or dividing by powers of 10. So to begin, I would like to start out with doing a little bit of vocabulary that will help us get ready for the next couple of days. So we're going to start with the vocabulary for powers of 10. And we're going to start with what is the base of a power. So in a power, the number that is used in a power, we're talking about the number that is used as a repeated factor. For example, in the number 10 to the third power, this 10 is what's called the base. This is the base number. This is the number that we repeatedly multiply based off of what our exponent is. So the base stays the same, and then we multiply it the number of times that we have in the exponent. And that takes us to the exponent. The exponent is the number in a power that tells how many times to use the base as a factor in repeated multiplication. So for example, in 10 to the third power, the exponent is 3. Up here, the base is 10, okay? The exponent is 3. So we're going to multiply the base number 3 times, and we do it 3 times because the exponent is 3. So if this exponent had been 4, we would multiply 10 4 times. If it had been 1,000,000, we would multiply 10 1,000,000 times. And the number would grow exponentially, which is where the word exponent comes from. And then we have the word power of 10. Power of 10 is a number that can be written as a product of tens. So a power of 10 would be 100 because you could write 100 as 10 times 10. 1,000 could be written as 10 times 10 times 10. So I want to show you here this little chart, and this little chart has powers of 10 written in exponent form, written in products of tens, and then written in standard form. So for example, 10 to the first power is the same as just saying 10, like the number 10, and because it's essentially 10 times nothing, 10 one time. That's why it's just 10. And then 10 equals 10, okay? 10 to the second power is written in products of 10 as 10 times 10 because there are 2 tens, two 10s. And then 2 to the second power is the same as 100. 10 to the third power, written as product of tens, is 10 times 10 times 10. In standard form is 1,000. 10 to the fourth power is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, or 10,000 in standard form, and so on and so forth. Every time your exponent goes up, you multiply that many 10 that many times, and then there's a correlation between what the exponent is and how many zeros there are in the standard form. But we're going to talk more about that today. So that's just a quick little mini lesson to get us ready for the lesson for today, which is on pages 133 through 136. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be thinking about what patterns you can find when you multiply or divide by 10, 100, and 1,000. Numbers like 10, 100, and 1,000 can be written as a product of tens, are called powers of 10. Complete the equations to multiply 3 by a power of 10. So, if we multiply 3 times 10, we get 30. If we multiply 30 times 10, we get 300. 300 times 10, 3,000, and 3,000 times 10 is 30,000. So when we look at this, to break this down, we would say 3 times 10 times 10 equals, if we just want to figure out what is that 10 times 10, well, we know that 10 times 10 is 100. So then 3 times 100 is equal to 300. I want you to pause the video and do numbers or letters B and C. Okay, now if we're looking at what is 10 times 10 times 10, that would be 1,000, because 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. We're going to move that 1,000 over here, and then 3 times 1,000 is 3,000. If we go here and we multiply 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, well, we know 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000, and then 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. So 3 times 10,000 is 30,000. Now we're going to complete the equations to divide 30,000 by a power of 10. So 30,000 divided by 10 is 3,000. 30,000 divided by 3,000 divided by 10 is 300. 300 divided by 10 is 30, and 30 divided by 10 is 3. But we're looking at what is 30,000 divided by 100. So we're skipping over the 10 and the 10. Remember that when we divide, every time we skip over, it's by a power of 10. So when we skip 2 places, that's the same as 100. So 30,000 divided by 100 equals 300. Now, 30,000 divided by 10,000, that's the same as making, if you look at the zeros, it's going to help you out. If we made 2 jumps, that was 2 zeros. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So we're going to make 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to come all the way over here and divide by 10,000. So 30,000 divided by 10,000 equals 3. I really want you to look at that, how the number of zeros corresponds with the answers that we get. What is it that you notice? We're going to be exploring that over the next few days. Go ahead and go to page 134. All right, on 134, it says, you can write a power of 10 using an exponent. Remember, we talked about exponents in our vocabulary. The exponent 4 means to use the base 10, this is your base, as a factor 4 times. So this 10 is our base, and then our exponent of 4 tells us how many times we're going to multiply that base. So in standard form, 10 is written as 10. As a product of 10, again, remember we're not multiplying it by anything, so it's just 10. And then in exponent form, you need that number 1 there so that we know that this is written in exponent form. It seems funny to write that 1, but it's very important. So whenever we're writing a number in exponent form and there's nothing to put there because it's just worth 10, you're going to put 10 to the first power. So now we have 100. How many times do we multiply 100 to get, or how many times do we multiply 10 to get 100? Hint, look at your number of zeros. That's right, 2 times. 10 times 10. And then in exponent form, it's written as 10 to the second power because we're multiplying 10 2 times. And we have how many zeros? In our standard form, 2 zeros. All of it goes together, so really pay attention. Now, in this third row, we have 10 times 10 times 10. So the first thing we need to look at is what is 10 times 10? That is 100. What is 100 times 10? That is 1,000. Now, if you didn't know that, you could go what is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1, and then add your 3 zeros.
Hi, so I just realized that this video cut out, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this lesson for you. So we just covered that the standard form for 100, so 100 written in standard form is 100. We can show it as a product of 10 because we know that 10 times 10 is 100. And then we can also show it in exponent form because 10 to the second power is the exponent form for 100 or 10 times 10. Now, we know that if we have 10 times 10 times 10, that is 1,000, which we just covered in the video. We also know if we're trying to figure out our exponent form, we can count the number of tens that we're multiplying, and that is going to be our exponent. We also, in the standard form, could count the number of zeros in our standard form, and that would also give us our exponent. So 1,000 in standard is written in standard form as 1 with 3 zeros. As a product of 10, it's written as 10 times 10 times 10. And in exponent form, it's written as 10 to the third power. So now we're going to complete the table to show different ways to write 300, 3,000, and 30,000. It's going to be very similar to writing 10, 100, and 1,000. Just now instead of having ones at the beginning, now we have threes at the beginning. So in standard form, 300 is written using a power of 10 as 3 times 100. Using factors of 10 is written as, you keep the 3 the same, 3 times 10 times 10. And in exponent form, it's written as 3 times 10 to the second power, meaning this 3 is what tells us it's going to be 300, or it's going to be 3 with some zeros after it. Then the 10 to the second power tells us that there's going to be 2 zeros after the 3, which gives us the 3 plus the 2 zeros, which is 300. Now, for 3,000, we have 3 times 1,000. We can count those number of zeros, and those number of zeros are going to tell us how many times we're going to multiply the factor of 10. So it would be 3 times, because that's this 3 here. So this 3 here is going to be here. And then these 3 zeros are going to go and be 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens. So 3 times 10 times 10 times 10 is the same as 3 times 1,000 or 3,000. And in exponent form, we would write it as 3 times 10 to the third power because we are multiplying 10 3 times, or because we have 3 zeros in 3,000. So it's really important to recognize that pattern between the number of zeros and the exponent and the number of times you multiply 10 if you're using the factors of 10. For 30,000, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to count how many zeros you have. We know that each of those zeros, if we're using powers of 10, it would be 3 times 10,000 because 3 times 1 is 3. And so that we could make that 30,000 if we multiplied that out. Then 30,000 written using factors of 10 would be 3 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And then we count how many of those tens we have, and that's 4, and that gives us our exponent of 4. Now, how do you know how many zeros are in the product 5 times 10 to the fourth power? What is the product? So you're going to say, I know there are blank zeros in the product 5 times 10 to the fourth power because. So I want you to tell me how many zeros are going to be in 5 times 10 to the fourth power, and then I want you to tell me why. All right, for our powers of 10, we are going to fill out just the graphic organizer. Once we do that, then you're going to do numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5 all on your own. So for number 1, these are all examples of power of 10. So one example would be 100 equals 10 times 10, which is the same as 10 to the second power because there are 2 tens or there are 2 zeros in 100. A power of 10 is a number that can be written as a product of tens. Some other examples would be 10 to the second power equals 10 times 10. 10 to the third power is 10 times 10 times 10. 1,000 equals 10 times 10 times 10, or 10 to the third power. And then finally, you could also skip count by powers of 10. 10 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is, 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. 10,000 times 10 is 100,000. 100,000 times 10 is a million. And it could keep going on and on and on infinitely. So that is your math for today. Go ahead and finish this out. And then when you are done, do numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5 on your own. And then you will be done for the day.